Hello and welcome to Gundog Nation. This is Kenneth Witt, and I'm coming to you from Texas. I want you to know that Gundog Nation is more than just a podcast. It's a movement to unite those who want to watch a well-trained dog do what it's bred to do. Also, we are set out to try to encourage youth to get encouraged in the sport of gun dogs, whether it's hunting, competition, trials, hunt tests, all the above. This is a community of people that are united to preserve our heritage of gun dog ownership and also to be better gun dog owners. So if you'll stay tuned to all of our episodes, we're going to have people on here to educate you about training, about nutrition, health, anything that can make you a better gun dog owner. It's my pleasure to welcome our listeners, and please join our community. Purina Pro Plan. Here at Gundog Nation, we use Purina Pro Plan for our dogs. We actually use the Sport Performance Edition, which is 30% protein and 20% fat, the beef and bison. It contains glucosamine, omega-3s for their joints. It also contains amino acids for muscles and antioxidants. And it also has probiotics. It's guaranteed to have live probiotics in each serving. There's no artificial colors or flavors. We see the difference in our dogs. We see the difference in their coat, their performance, their endurance, and also in recovery. Be sure to use Purina Pro Plan dog food. The reputation speaks for itself. There's a reason that Purina has been around for such a long time. We suggest that you use it, and we are so proud to be sponsored by Purina Dog Food. Hey, this is Kenneth Witt from Gundog Nation coming to you live again. Well, it won't be live by the time you hear this, but from Texas. And, I recorded one last week with a really good friend of mine from Ireland. And today I get to record one with a friend from Canada. So we're Gundog's going international, Gundog Nation. I love it. But I'm going to introduce this man here in a second. But Steve and I met at a seminar, weekend seminar with Cornerstone Gundog Academy. We're both members, and we both trained under their methods, and using the do-it-yourself way that they have. And anyway, and his wife trained. It's really exciting. They're both very involved, and I got to see them in action down there. And I was down there with I had the youngest dog, I think.
Yeah.
She was barely 6 months, so she might have been 5.5, but it was neat. But I know y'all had a dog I really liked that I wish I could have stolen if I wouldn't have been arrested in Alabama for that. I would have took off with that dog. But you'd driven all the way from Canada, and I'd driven all the way from West Texas, and I think we both had about the same distance to drive, because I was in Midland coming over, and that's a long haul to Alabama. But
yeah, we were.
All right, Steve.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I was just.
Let me do a formal introduction. You tell everybody who you are, where you live.
My name is Steve Strongman. I live in Ontario, Canada, and we own the Waterfowl Dispatchers, a Saskatchewan outfitting company for waterfowl, and that's who we are. Now,
am I correct, Steve? Is that you and your brother, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, my brother and our two wives. We're all partners in the business, so we wanted to
smart man.
Yeah, so we had. Wanted to spend more time hunting in the field, so we had to get them involved somehow. So we roped them in that way.
What got you and who started first? Was your wife from a hunting background, or were you from a hunting background, or how did y'all begin?
Yeah, my wife, she's actually from Florida. So I married an American.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah. So we were at the CGA event there the weekend. We're actually down in Florida. We kind of make it like part of our winter vacation, and then we drive back up, do the weekend, and then drive home. So we were on our way home that time. But we met online dating, and imported her to Canada. And
it's true love getting a woman to leave the tropics of Florida to go freeze to death in Canada. That you got to keep her. And I remember y'all told me a little bit more about it, but you went down and met her, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
in Florida?
We went down, and we kind of got talking. Just saw where she lived. It was like 45 minutes away from where we snowbird. My family and I would been going down to Florida during the winter for a couple of weeks every year, and I was like, oh, that's not too far. And so we got talking in that, and it was in the fall before the pandemic, and anyways, ended up getting married right in the heat of the pandemic, and she's been up here for maybe 5 years in July now. So I think she's regretting it a bit this winter because we've had the last 3 winters have been fairly mild. Last year was probably one of the most mild winters we've had, and then this year it's making up for it. So we've been getting hit.
So you just kind of eased her into it, right?
Yeah.
It started out not so bad.
Yeah.
No, that's neat. Now, what part of Florida was she from? I grew up going to Florida a lot.
She's from Plant City, Florida. So it's about 20 minutes northeast of Tampa, right off the I-4. So
okay,
it's actually
is that kind of in the Panhandle a little bit?
No, it's down farther.
The other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of it'd be 45 minutes south of Kissimmee.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got a tiny place down there that's been in my family a long time in Kenansville, which is a little bitty tiny area, same county as Kissimmee.
Okay.
And the same county as St. Cloud, Osceola County, actually, where the Osceola Turkey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's real close to us.
Yeah. Her town's pretty cool. It's we'd gone down, and Kissimmee's like all hinged off of Disney, and so it's nothing but tourism there. And she's like, I'm from a small farming town. I was like, what? And then sure enough, went there, and they're the winter strawberry capital of the world. So if
didn't know that. If
you look on your strawberries, a lot of times, probably from January till March, most likely they're from Plant City. So it's pretty cool. Like she said, it is a farm town. There's not much tourism there, so pretty nice town. Yeah.
Hey, I learned something new. I remember that. That's winter strawberries. So had she or you, before y'all met, been big hunters?
She came from a non-hunting background. I'm third generation. So my grandfather, he grew up in Orillia, Ontario, about an hour south of us. And there's a couple bigger lakes there they hunted on. And he was a diehard. A lot of what they ate in the winter was what they shot in the fall. And he was a man I would have liked to met. He died the year I was born, but carved all his own decoys and hunted out of a canoe. And yeah, just pretty cool. And my dad had one other brother, and they hunted as soon as they were old enough, and pretty much exclusively waterfowl. So, growing up, I got 7 siblings. So, my dad's a Baptist minister, but I have 7 siblings, and he took a hiatus from hunting until we were old enough to get our license and go out. And so I remember our first hunt, we went out, and first couple hunts, we have a cottage a little bit farther north of us, and he took us out and built the blind just along the shoreline with a bunch of rocks and that, and put out Grandpa's decoys, and he had us shooting hooded McGansers, and we just there's a ton of them up here, and we were just shooting them up like crazy. And then he had us cook them, and man, when I took a bite of the first McGanser, I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Is this what it tastes like? But yeah,
I've never tried them, but I've heard that.
Oh yeah. Don't try them if you don't have to.
Did you still have any of your grandpa's decoys?
Yeah, my dad's got them. Yeah, he's got them.
Wow. A lot of them?
No, my uncle, he made a set for my dad. They hunted mostly mallards, and then in the fall we have divers, a heavy population of common goldeneyes and buffleheads. Mm-hmm. But he had a set of mallards, about a dozen of them, and then about a dozen of the goldeneyes. And so, yeah, he still got them, and
that's neat. Well, I'm a little ignorant about that process. What kind of wood do they use for those?
He used mostly cedar. Different. Yeah, my dad.
Okay.
He actually made us make a few of our own for when we first started out, and we couldn't figure out how to make them and then finally figured it out. But Grandpa used to cut them in half and hollow out the centers, and then he'd have counterweights on the back, and we just carved them out of a block of wood, and the heads just fell over. But tried our best.
Diving ducks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty neat. I shouldn't laugh because I have no craft skills, so it would not be pretty.
Yeah. Yeah. Kept them in the.
So.
Go ahead.
No. Well, educate me on what all species that you guys would hunt up there. And would you always be in Ontario, or did you go to other parts of Canada?
Yeah. So we grew up in Ontario, and primarily we hunted it was kind of interesting. In Aurelia, where my dad grew up, there's very little Canada geese population, Canada goose. Wow. So, yeah, they were not very prevalent, and lots of farming around Aurelia too. But they always hunted the water, so they would hunt the mallards and black ducks and wood ducks, and you get the teal and that a little bit in the early season, but it all opens at the same time as far as ducks up here. So a lot of the teal are gone and in Ontario, and then probably mid-October, late October, November, the divers start coming down, and so that's what they would hunt. They would hunt the golden eyes, bluebills, ringnecks, and buffleheads, and so that's what we hunted in Ontario. Now we primarily hunt mostly. Our lakes have all got built up with cottages, and there's not very many places that we can actually hunt. There's still some, but the cottages are turning more into permanent residence, so you run into some interesting situations with cottagers. And now we primarily hunt dry field Canada geese and corn, and if you're lucky, you get the mallards coming into the field. That's pretty special, but that's what we hunt in Ontario. And
Steve, do you guys get sandhill crane up in that part of Canada?
Yeah, we do. We just in the last probably 10 years, they started showing up, and no season for them, but they're talking about 2026 opening a season and doing like a tag draw for them. I think you'll be able to shoot one or two, but you're starting to see the farmers hate them because they can't get rid of them, and mostly in the spring, like up here, we're in the tree line about an hour south of us. You start to get into farm, and then Southern Ontario is pretty heavy farming. But up here, it's smaller farms, and we talked to quite a few farmers, and their problem is in the spring they show back up and on their way back north, and the fields are planted, and they just walk through the fields and just scratch 2 feet and destroy it, and farmers lose a couple acres, 3 or 4 acres, and they can't do anything to them. And but yeah, we were up 2 hours north of us in another smaller farming community and drove past a field, and it was like a Saskatchewan huntable flock of sandhill cranes. I couldn't believe it. There was probably 500 or 600 in the field. So yeah, but
they're in big groups. Well, let me ask you. So since you're an Ontario native, but your outfitter business is in Saskatchewan, is hunting better in Saskatchewan?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Is there a reason that you're there?
Yeah. So we, my grandfather took my dad and my uncle out to Saskatchewan to the Big Quills when they were, I think Dad was 17, Uncle Chuck was either in his early 20s, I think it was, and they camped by the in a farm field by the Big Quills. And so when we turned, I think it was 17 and 19, Dad took us out. We drove out and super green and drove out in a small car and just packed a bunch of shells and had no idea what we were doing. And that was probably 14 years ago. And so we made the trek out there just because they had, because you drive through Manitoba and it's amazing for hunting too. But Saskatchewan, I mean, it's to me, it's the best place in the world to hunt waterfowl. So it's out there. I mean, have you been up to Saskatchewan to hunt?
Yeah, I flew into Saskatoon and drove. I bear hunted up there first. I was there for opening day of black bear season in 2017, and then went back that November for deer season. Same place, same outfitter. We were like 3 hours north of Saskatoon, and I mean, there was no cell service for an hour, you know.
Yeah,
but I remember seeing waterfowl, especially when I was there in the spring hunt of bear season. I mean, it was unbelievable. I've never seen it much. It was, so I figured it to me, it's a sportsman's paradise. I mean, the lakes, the fishing, So yes, I have to answer that question in a long answer.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. The farmer's son that we're really good friends with out there, he owns 2 camps I think it's 3 hours north of 3 or 4 hours north of Saskatoon on Besnard Lake Lodge.
Okay.
And we had, he's the one that kind of pushed us into the outfitting side of it. But he was closing up camp, and we had a gap in between clients. So we'd never been up to his camps, and he has both camps on the lake, and that's the only fishing outfitter up there. And we drove up and helped him close up the camp, but he took us out one night. And I mean, I've fished here, and my buddies all have sonars and fish detectors and everything. And we go in, it's a tin boat with a 25 horse and no fish equipment at all, just a rod. And he's like, oh yeah, he's like, they have fishing guides, of course, local guys take them out. But I'm like, the fishing is good when they have no electronics in the boat. And said, what does it take to get a limit? Like, and he's like, oh, they'll probably get their limit the first day and then throw back what they don't want and just keep fishing until they get the bigger ones. And so, but it's definitely a sportsman's paradise for sure.
Well, Steve, the place I stayed, I wish I could remember that name. It's driving me insane. It was an older couple. They'd been there all their lives. That was their business. And it was a camp, had these tiny cabins, and they ran everything off a giant Caterpillar generator, diesel generator. And they had fishing in the, warm months, bear hunting, and then deer hunting. And it was a year-round thing for them. But
really?
The cabin, I mean, I stayed in this little tiny cabin and woke up and looked at a lake right there.
Yeah.
And I remember, one thing I remember, Steve, I'll never forget, I was eating, the lady cooked dinner, two meals a day, and I ate wild rice out of that lake.
Oh, really?
And that was the best stuff. I'd give anything to have taken a truckload of that back. But it was, I don't know what she did. I don't know if you've ever eaten that.
No.
But it blew me away.
Yeah, I've heard of it, and we have some lakes around Ontario that have wild rice in it. But yeah, I've never tried that. But
I know it sounds crazy that rice could be that good.
Yeah.
But it was. I could just eat it plain, and it was. I'm sure she might have put butter or something in it, but it was. I don't even know. Words can't describe. So it was good.
That's awesome. Yeah,
but I bet it's in the vicinity where you are somehow. I don't know why I can't remember.
We're an hour south, or an hour and a half south of Saskatoon. That's where we're set up right now.
Oh, okay.
For outfitting.
Okay.
So, because Saskatoon is, I think you're half hour, 45 minutes, or a little bit more to the tree line, they call it, and then the farming kind of sparse. It like gets a little bit more sparse, and then you get into the boreal forest. But yeah, we're right in between, almost dead center in between Saskatoon and Regina. So that's where we're right close to one of the biggest bird sanctuaries in Saskatchewan.
Oh, wow. That you're right. I remember there was logging operations, sawmills all through there where we were.
Right. Yeah.
Big timber, thick. So thick. Yeah.
Awesome.
So how long have you been in business?
This will be our third fall. Yeah. We started 2 years ago, and we really run it. We're not looking to scale much more. Like right now we're doing one group a week. So we run 3-day hunts. And hunt 5 times in those 3 days. So morning, evening, and then the morning of the day that the clients leave. And right now we're just doing one group a week. So just to kind of ease into it, it's basically like we have full-time jobs back here, and it's something that we love doing, and we don't want to kind of go too far into it where the customer experience suffers. And I'm still at the point where it's like, if the clients have a bad hunt, it hurts me pretty bad. And Saskatchewan, it's pretty hard to have a bad hunt, but they come every once in a while. It's hunting, and especially when you're chasing snow geese. But
no, what's the season there? At least where your outfitters, where you have your business. What's the season?
We run the season of Saskatchewan runs from September 1st to December, I think 16th. But most, like our season, the prime season, is basically last week of September. Obviously, weather depending is a little bit. Last week of September to the first week of November. that's kind of when we run. So for those 6 weeks.
Now, I know where I hunted in November, you had a lot of snow up where we were further north.
Right.
When does it start getting kind of real Canada winter weather there at your place?
Saskatchewan is kind of funny because I've been out in like late October and they'll get 6 inches, and then a couple days later it's gone. Wow. And then it won't snow again until maybe December. And so they kind of seem to have like a snow like storm in that late November to mid-November time. But it just depends. Like you can get the snow, but then the water, if the water stays open, then the birds will just stay. And so until the sloughs and the smaller lakes freeze up, then they'll stick around. Like they basically, you'll just keep getting pushes of birds, and then finally when everything starts to lock up north, then the final push will come through. But if you get a really solid freeze, it's usually around the end of October that things start to freeze up and the majority of the birds leave. So the big masses. Okay. But
I never thought about that. I guess it freezes up, so you're not able to really hunt. Makes sense. So, and you don't have a January season for like snow goose or something, right? Everything's over December the 16th.
Yeah. So it snows, until can't remember when the spring season opens, but we have a spring like on the migration back up that runs until I think it's June 1st. I think it's April, mid-April or early April till June 1st that the snows will be rolling back up through Saskatchewan. So we don't. Do
you all operate then?
No, not yet. We haven't hunted the snow as much in the spring, just with work back here. It's pretty busy, but we go out every couple of years and just freelance ourselves. But and that's a tough hunt because Saskatchewan the daylight is just crazy in the spring. Like you'll be up at 3:00 in the morning. You got to be like in the field by 3, and like 7:30 you can be limited out or earlier, and you're done for the day. And then you sit all day until you'll be packing up your decoys, finishing the hunt at 10:30 at night, 10 o'clock at night, rolling back. So the saying is you sleep during the day and you nap at night because there's not very many hours. So it's tough hunting in the spring, but it's a lot of fun still too. So.
Yeah, that was so, I remember staying in a little tiny cabin there by myself, bear season in May. And I woke up, I don't know, Steve, I guess it was 2 or 3 in the morning, and it was broad daylight.
Yeah.
Would that be right?
Yeah.
And I was scared to death that I'd overslept. Thought I went nuts. I was like, oh God, I've overslept. It's broad daylight.
Yeah.
That was so weird to me because I'd never, experienced that before. But that's different.
I haven't hunted too much, like not out in the States yet, but I think one of the cool things about Saskatchewan is just what we've seen too with the clients. Obviously we experience it on our own, but when you come for a hunt, like with us, it's like we'll hunt twice a day. And normally if we hunt one species in the morning, then it's different in the afternoon. So we'll hunt sandhill cranes in the morning, and we'll hunt snows in the afternoon, or we'll hunt ducks and darks in the afternoon. And just the variety is insane. And it's kind of a shooter's like dream, because I remember the one clients, we were shooting sandhill cranes in the morning and the wind was just howling and those birds were just crawling into the decoys, barely moving, and they were shooting them good. Well, we went to shoot ducks in the afternoon and the wind had died off and the ducks were just coming in 2-3 times as fast, and you have to adjust your shooting, right? So it kind of throws you off a bit when you go from one species to the next in the same day, only a couple hours apart. And it's pretty fun. So
now, since you have so many species, Steve, let's just say a group comes in and maybe they just want to hunt duck or they just want to hunt crane. How does that work with you? What's your guidelines for that?
We do, like, what we tell clients is we'll give you the best options. So like we'll go out. I do most of the scouting. My brother, he's a videographer. So in our in our 3-day package, he'll film the hunts and then he puts together a video that's included for the clients. So we'll go out, I scout, and then I just come back and we say, like, if the clients say we've never hunted sandhill cranes, then I say, this is the option for tomorrow. Like, it looks pretty good or it looks bad. And then kind of let them, we always give them the best option. If they want to go chase something that might not be the greatest hunt, then we'll go shoot that too. We run smaller groups, like 6-8 guys at the max. And even we had some 4 groups last year. And that's kind of how we want to keep it. So it's a little bit more personable. And, but yeah, we do an interview, like send out a survey to the clients too before they come up and ask them if there's anything specific they're targeting or, what their hunting experience is, if they've ever hunted Saskatchewan. So it's, we always try to get them in on, like, I would like to target every species, but sometimes it doesn't work out quite that way. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So one thing, just switching gears just a second, while it just hit me, I know you and your wife brought dogs down to train back in spring when we were in Alabama. I brought a dog over from Texas. And, August 1st, the U.S. had the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, changed the rules on, at least for pups, coming in and out of the country, or coming in the country, I should say. I'm not a fully fledged in the regulation, but I know it affected me when I was trying to import 2 pups.
Right.
My point is, after rattling out all that, like, if you guys come down this time to the event, this Cornerstone Gundog Academy event, will you have any more restrictions than you had last year?
No. So they rolled that out, and our vet put us on notice up here, and then a couple guys, CGA members actually, that had been talking to about coming out in the fall, and they were like, "Oh, Delta Waterfowl just put this notice about it," and I think it was maybe 2 weeks. And then everything got changed, and it was basically like Canada got taken off of I don't know, I think it was something to do with rabies, and it kind of went back to about the same. I don't think there's much difference. We had quite a few dogs come up and go back, and we've gone down to Florida a couple times since then and never had any issues. I think as long as their shots are up to date, that's basically the only restriction right now.
Hello, this is Kenneth Witt, and Gundog Nation is proud to have one of their sponsors as Retriever Training Supply, based in Alabama. Retriever Training Supply offers fast shipping on quality gear. Your dog will love it. Visit retrievertrainingsupply.com to purchase gear to help you train your retriever. Listen, they have some of the best leashes I've ever found. It's stuff's made in America. Their leashes are, and they source them locally. They have anything you want, fast, friendly service, fast shipping, just good people. Retriever Training Supply. You just reminded me, I actually was working in Pennsylvania for Shell Oil, and I traveled up to Toronto. I was actually on Niagara Falls.
Okay.
And I had a Rottweiler, a protection dog that I was training, and took her across, and they were really easy. Mm-hmm. That was in 2012, but it was really easy to cross over and come back.
Yeah, Go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah. It was at that time. It was just easy. I think I had shot records, and that was really it.
Yeah, we've we bought both our dogs from I guess you should say from James River Retrievers. You had Shane Kendrick on, and
yes,
but I think
great guy. Yeah,
we've come back and forth. I don't know how many times since we've had them. At least 2.5, and. We keep them in the back of the truck now that they're bigger and gunners and with a cap on it. And I thought for sure, like, as soon as we started doing that, they'd go back and check everything and whatnot. But, I think the last time my wife went down, that was the only time they asked what was in the back. And then a lot of times when they were younger, we had them in their crates in the back seat. And they would say, roll down the window, saw it, and never said boo. So I think a lot of times they're a little bit timid about inquiring about any kind of a dog in a crate and they don't know what kind of reaction they'll get when they open the crate or whatnot. So
maybe that's what happened. I had a full-grown Rottweiler from Germany, and she was safe, and but still she was intimidating. They didn't open her up.
Yeah.
So do you? I know every outfitter's different, and you all have your reasons and stuff. Do you allow hunters to bring their own dogs?
Yeah, we do. We try to have at least a couple dates like set aside for like dog exclusive. Like obviously, if you're bringing a group of 6 guys, and that'll be 6 to 8 guys as a private group. And if you guys want to bring 6 or 8 dogs, then that's up to you. So that's what we.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we tell the guys like, if they book a private group, it's the group's hunt. Like if you want to stand out when all the ducks are rolling in and run your dog, that's up to you guys. And so we try to set out at least two dates a year. We have one October 23rd to the 25th that we're trying to fill with CGA members. So we have a couple that are coming up already. Do you know Chris Rowland? He's involved with CGA quite a bit.
I know his name and see him on the social media and stuff, but I don't know him personally.
Okay. Yeah, you should. I was going to even suggest talking to him because he breeds English labs, like the blockheads, the big dogs, and he hunts them. So he came out last year and we hunted over 2 of his dogs or watched them hunt, and they were awesome dogs, but super smart guy and good ethical breeder too. So he's coming out. I think he's coming out for 2 or 3 weeks, and he's just gonna bring his camper and camp at the lodge, and he'll probably run his dogs throughout. But yeah, so we're hoping to get just because not necessarily just exclusively CGA members, but like the teaching's usually the same. So we find that when we've had a couple of the members when they run their dogs, it's the same thing kind of thing. So we've had a couple other clients bring their dogs and they're trained differently, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's one of the reasons why we kind of trying to make it just a CGA group. So yeah, but going back to your question, we'll do allow it, and so that's kind of how we were doing it, because we were going to do just private group if you wanted to bring a dog. But then we're like, there's also a lot of solo hunters that train. Once I entered the dog world, because I never grew up with dogs, and I discovered a lot that there's 2 types of hunters. There's 2 types of waterfowlers. There's waterfowlers that hunt because they have a dog, and then there's waterfowlers hunt because they want to waterfowl. And a lot of guys, I had one guy, we were on one of the best duck hunts we had all fall last year. He didn't pick up his gun once. He just wanted to run the dog. And I still get taken back by that, because dogs are secondary for me. Like, I didn't grow up hunting them, so I was always shooting. And I'm like, man, I was like, don't you want to shoot? Don't you want to shoot? He's like, no, I just want to run the dog. And so
I feel like the older I get, I'm leaning that way, and I just about soon run my dog. And I've loved to shoot stuff, but I can understand that.
Yeah, so that's what going back to I realized that I've seen on Facebook groups and that there's a lot of people that are like, hey, I've trained this dog, but I can't get anybody to like allow me to come and bring my dog, like an outfitter. And so that's what I said to Phil. I was like, I think there's a market to those people, and obviously there's going to be rules and whatnot, but primarily when it's just a dog group, that's what we say. Hey, like, this is about working your dog. This is not about shooting a limit. Like, if somebody's out running a blind and a group of birds comes in, then it's about running the blind. And because I find that's what kind of changes when you're not like dog focused. It's more about the shooting. So
yes. And way more than I do, Steve. It's, when all those birds come in, you got 6 or 8 guys in the blind, it's chaos. Yeah. And if you've got a dog that's like, I took one of my dogs duck hunting with a group of friends, and, you didn't get to see him, but he's well trained. And then I had another dog that was started, but I didn't want to take him with the group because I knew it'd be a little chaotic in the blind. He's, so so I understand having a set aside time to work dogs in a hunting situation where that's the focus is actually working the dogs.
Yeah, in Saskatchewan.
Instead of killing.
Yeah, in Saskatchewan, I don't know. I mean, there's lots of amazing places to hunt in the States too, but Saskatchewan, I mean, usually if you could sit in the blind all day in the field that was the X, and you'll get birds trickling in all day. So that's where I tell the clients, I'm like, just don't get too worked up. It's like in Ontario, a lot of times if we're hunting a bird, like a feed, and there's only 300 birds, I mean, you might get 6 shooting opportunities. That's it. But in Saskatchewan, I mean, you might be targeting snow geese, but you'll shoot ducks, or you'll shoot, you know, a group of specks are going by and you can pull them in. So it's just, you know, there's a lot of different options, and it gives you a lot more lenience when you're running dogs. So you're not don't have to be super focused on just shooting the, you know, birds for half an hour kind of thing. So.
Yeah, that is nice. I've got to come try it out. And actually, I just thought about when you were telling me about the dates of the CGA group. It conflicted with a pheasant hunt I do every year, which it's opening weekend in South Dakota. It's usually around the 18th, 19th, something like that.
Okay.
And I think that was what happened this year. I wanted to come up there with y'all.
Yeah.
You know, when I met you and you were telling me about it, I was all excited. So I still try to make that work. Now, you're all coming down this year, right, to the CGA?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're. I think it might be just me and our oldest dog Ellie we were running last year. Diesel. He's had a bit of an issue with his. He just had an operation on his elbow, so he had. I don't know what they call it. It was like bone fragments or something in his elbow, so he's not going to be quite ready to be back on his feet. So Sherry's just going to probably stay back with him, and then I'll just bring Ellie up. So Ellie's been, we call her the problem child. So was she
a fox red that y'all had?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the dog I like. Just for looks, it looked great. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a fox red, and she looks great, and she runs hard, and but we've I've never I'll go into a bit about how I got to know about CGA. Is my wife grew up having small dogs, and but she never had a big dog, and we had talked about getting a dog after we got married, and I said, well, if we're going to get a dog, I'd like to get a hunt dog, because I didn't really see the purpose of just having a pet dog, but because I'd never grown up with one. So I was on Instagram scrolling, and I saw this guy post this video, and he's a really good friend now, but he was running his labs. They were SOK labs, and he was running them and then stopping them on a whistle and casting them to a bumper. And I was like, whoa, I've never seen anything like that. So his name's Jake Barroncott. He's pretty heavily involved in CGA too. And I just straight up followed him on Instagram, messaged him, and then probably a day later we were on the phone for over an hour, and I was just texting him and asking him, hey, what's the difference between, Chesapeake and the lab, and what's better? And he was just going through and gave me now that I'm kind of in the dog world, I'm like, I didn't realize how blessed I was to meet him, because he gave me a lot of very sound advice in the beginning. And the only thing I say to him is, I'm like, you told me to get a British Lab because they are a softer dog and they're easier to train. And I never, I think the first time I even met Jake in person was at the CGA weekend, not last year, but the year before that. And so I'd never seen his dogs. I'd never seen a British Lab besides my puppies. And Shane, I saw his dogs when we picked up Ellie, but I never saw him run them or anything. And man, Ellie is the furthest thing from a soft dog. So I can yell at her, and she just stands there and looks at me. And the first time I ever saw it was I was training with Jake. We went down to his house, and he said a correction to his dog Sadie, and he did it twice, and she tucked her tail and got her feelings hurt. And I was like, man, I wish my dog would do that. Ellie just looks at me and does the exact opposite.
That's the thing. You can't generalize them, can you? I mean, I've got a female a British dog that I imported, and she's kind of soft. As far as you don't, you have to watch how you say something to her.
Right.
Now I've got a male. I could scream, holler, kick. He kick a bucket. He don't care. I mean, he's just going to hunt, and nothing phases him.
Yeah.
And they're actually from pretty close bloodlines. So
okay,
it's you never know.
No, and that's the thing is like it's nice to see like Jake's two dogs are amazing and Ellie, but that's why we call her the problem child. We started out and he introduced us to CGA and that's how we got on because me and my wife we decided like we're gonna train them together and we're both of the personality where we have to have like step by step. It's like I've learned a ton since I've trained Ellie and Diesel, and they're not even fully trained. But when I was first starting out, CGA was amazing just for the example of like you go out and Josh, we got 52 plus and Josh was like just going through step by step by step and it helped us immensely. But one of the bad things that we did with Ellie was we created the keep away habit. We would take stuff out of her mouth, sticks and stuff. So we've been paying for that for a while because she'll grab the bumper, and if she doesn't want to come back, then it's a bit of a chore getting it back. But we're pretty much through that, so it's starting to get fun. I think we're on week 41, and so we're getting close to running blinds with her, and so it's a lot of fun now to start seeing that all come into play. So I'm really looking forward to the CGA weekend this year.
I ran 2 labs all through hunting season, pheasant, duck, and sandhill crane.
Okay.
Actually, one of them through all of it, and the other one. So now, and these one dog's fully finished, and I'm going back through video from week 42, trying to get him all the bad habits that he picked up from hunting, which is my fault. Trying to clean it back up for just almost do some hunt tests, just for fun. And so and what's so crazy, he's titled as a HRC seasoned.
Oh, really?
But right now, I doubt that he could pass the entry level HRC test, just cause, oh man, you know how it is. Hunting season, it changes them. And so I gotta get it cleaned up.
Yeah. Ellie's got tons of like, I don't know if I'm using drive in the right way, because I've learned like that can mean different things, but she's very much, and that's what I love about the British Labs, like she's very much comes in the house and she's laying on the couch, like barely makes a peep, but you come outside and she is just jacked up, ready to go. And I love that, and that's what I told my wife. She was that way as a puppy, and I'm like, she's going to be a guide dog. Like she's going to be picking up a lot of birds a year. So I'm like, I'm not upset that she has that energy, but it's also makes it a little bit more difficult to train her. So
yeah, you never find that happy medium, right? you especially if you're a guide and you got that many retrieves on a dog, that many days a week. You need a dog that's got some drive and that doesn't get bored and burn out on it. Yeah. But usually to get a dog like that, they've got some juice when they're not hunting too. But we all search for that, don't we? That happy medium.
Yeah, and it's been.
I do.
Yeah, it's been the dog world is like I said, I didn't grow up with dogs, and so this was it was eye opening for sure. Like CJ, one of the things that I had to do with myself was because CJ, I was just like, I'm just going to do CJ, and I'm like, I know there's tons of different ways, but that's what I started looking at some other types of training that, and I'm like, man, I could get lost in the weeds, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I had to come back and we're just going to train like this until she's kind of like seasoned or whatever, like finished, ready to hunt, and then we can look at some different training if we wanted. But the dog world is there's a lot of opinions on how to train a hunting dog, and a lot of them are great, but it's just like, that's what I had to do. I was like, I just have to stick with one and go with it. So,
well, son, what you just said, you really turned on a light bulb for me right then. I've done CGA too. I've been all through the 52 week plus, and what I found, Steve, and maybe you're like me, I found lots of good material, right? There's all kinds of dog training. There's as much as you want to research that's out there. And I'm not bashing any other trainer or training method. But what works for me about CGA is I'm kind of ADHD. I need structure. I need guidelines, parameters, and it's a day by day by day building.
Yeah.
And then if you're not ready to move on, you stick there and work on that. So it was perfect for my personality type. My learning ability worked well with that program.
Yeah. And I think
I love it.
Yeah. I told Josh when I first met him there, I was like, man, the uniqueness of him taking, Violet from a puppy to a finished like hunting. It's like you saw the bad times too. And that really did it for me because like we had a lot of bad times with Ellie. Like we'd hit a certain stage and we couldn't get through it for a while. And Violet takes off running when he's training her. And then he's like, just completely leaves the camera. He's like, got to deal with her. And I'm like, that makes me feel like, good because a lot of the YouTube stuff, it's not bad, but usually it's with a train.
They edit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yes, Steve, you took words. I mean, I've actually had Josh on this program, and one of the things that you nailed it that I love about CGA. When I first started watching it, I thought, and I've said this before, I was ready to kill that Violet, that pup that they used because she was what you're talking about, kind of like your dog, right? High drive, insane, but insanely intelligent, almost too smart for the trainer, right?
Right.
And that dog would run off, and they didn't cut that out of the video. So here you're watching a training video, and it shows every mistake that you can make or that can happen, or anything that like you don't know what a dog's an animal. You don't know it's like a horse. You know what they're going to do. Well, they're going to kick you. So they had this dog, and they showed every mistake, and I thought this is awesome because I want to see how he fixes that.
Yeah,
because it happens to me, it happens to you. When we're training. Our dogs, if it can go wrong, it will in training, Yeah. So I was like, man, I'm learning more watching him fix that mistake that he just made. Or it wasn't even Josh's mistake. It's just the dog just took off, darted out, gone,
Yeah.
Or whatever he was trained to do, it didn't do it. And so that to me, first of all, it made it authentic and genuine.
Yeah.
Because it's real. There was no fake stuff. They could have gotten an easier dog to train, that. Yeah. They could have got a pup that was kind of, easy go lucky, but they didn't. They got a really hard pup.
Yeah.
Which impresses me that much more about the program.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the thing that really helped us, like Jake, I called him quite a bit when we were training Ellie but the community too, because that's how I met Chris Rowland. Like he's part of the CGA group, and he had us down. He lives 4 hours south of us, just across the border in New York. And we went down, hunted, and saw his dogs too, because they're English labs, and so they were completely different. And he has his take on everything, because that's the thing with CGA too, is like everybody's just training. Usually they're amateur trainers, but they have different experiences with the different types of dogs. So like something came easy to Ellie would be hard for somebody else, and then vice versa. So, but when we hunted Ellie for the first time, I definitely called a few people and told them about it because they had been along with me on the journey. So
yeah, and it's a journey.
Oh yeah,
I've got two dogs about the same age right now. I'm training a male and a female, and the male is easy, almost too easy. And the female is the hardest pup I may have ever had my hands on.
Oh, really?
And she's an import, English.
Oh, really?
And well-bred,
Yeah.
But oh my gosh. But I know that once I get her obedience solid, that she's going to be a hunting machine because she's full of fire,
Yeah.
Kind of like what your dog sounds like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We did, we got Ellie all ready and everything, finally got her coming back to us in that, an introduction to gunfire, and did all that, and took her out and decoys and everything. And we wanted to hunt her first in Saskatchewan just because in early season you can pick dry field ducks and it's pretty easy hunting and run her out of an A-frame blind so we can control her so she doesn't break. And but I remember the last thing we needed to do, I didn't have any live dead birds from the previous season, so I had to wait. Goose season opens September 1st here. Well, yeah, depending on the date, sometimes the last part of August. And so we had to wait for real birds. And once again, I'm like, she was fine with the wings on the bumper and everything, but she wouldn't put that duck in her mouth. And so then we spent about a month getting her to put the duck in her mouth. And so we missed most of last season. We had her out. I think she's got 15 or 18 retrieves right now. And but I was a little bummed because I'm like, just accomplished all these problems and then took her out, and then she still, sometimes she'll just pick the duck up by the bare minimum. And she loves running and coming back just as fast, but she's just like, what is this thing? And
doesn't like that texture in her mouth.
Yeah, but then Josh said, he's like, sometimes that happens. He's like, but wait until you get her around 30 birds or so. And she was putting it together, like we had her in, and the ducks were circling, and I was trying to let the bigger groups go and just have her get a couple and shoot one at a time. And she was watching them and the duck call and everything, and she was putting it together. So I think he's right. Like next season, once we get her on a few more hunts, then she'll be pretty dialed in. So, yeah.
Now, one thing, Stephen, I'm asking this because I honestly do not know. Do you all have is that area of Canada or any part of Canada, is there any really good upland hunting there? I guess there is.
Yeah, Saskatchewan has some pretty good upland hunting.
What species?
We have, I meant to look this up, but we have sharptails, and I'm not sure if they're called, they call them prairie chickens and Huns, I think, but I'm not sure if the Sharpies are the same as the prairie chickens, or I'm not 100%.
And I get that mixed up like the Hungarian partridge. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. I'm not sure. I know there's one, the prairie chickens at the farm, that's what the farmers call them. You just see coveys of them. Like when I'm scouting, I'll bust them. They sit in the canola fields and stuff like that in the pastures, and they'll fly off the road. But in the sanctuary that we're next to, they have like an actual sanctuary on the inner part, and then the outer part is just like a wildlife area, and it's pasture land, and you can hunt that, like just go in and hunt it, and there'll be coveys along the hedgerows, and we usually just walk the edge of the hedgerow, and they'll come flying out, and because that's what my brother and I used to do when we were in between hunts, and that's what we tell the clients too. Like if they want to hunt, we had a group of young hunters come up, and they're like, yeah, we just want to hunt. And I'm like, all right. So we went out and hunted back to the lodge, 10:30. We were done breakfast kind of thing, 11 o'clock. And then we just took them over and walked for a couple miles, and they shot at some, without dogs, they flush pretty fast. So you got to be pretty quick, but flushed a few and then came back. And then we were out again at 3 o'clock in the field again. And they did that for, I think, their first day, and the second day they decided to take the nap during the afternoon.
Yeah.
So, but to answer your question, there is. It's pretty good upland game too. So,
is there a lot of, I know I'm sure Canada's full of outfitters and full of hunters in season, people from the U.S. and all over. Is there a large population of folks that come there to upland hunt?
I think there's I don't know if it would be a large population. I know a lot of hunters or outfitters, some of the smaller ones, they'll book like upland hunts, but I think there's only a couple that actually have like pointers and flushers, like dogs that specifically for that.
Okay.
Yeah, but
so it's fair to say it's mostly waterfowl.
Yeah,
hunting.
Yeah, it's mostly waterfowl. In Saskatchewan, it's crazy because we were shooting a buddy of mine. He was shooting a snow goose feed on the edge of a slough, just a small slough, and he shot a canvasback, which is a diver dock in the middle of Saskatchewan in a slough. And there's all kinds of divers on the big lake that's close to us. There's rafts of bluebills and goldeneyes, and it's just wild. Like nobody goes there to hunt divers, but there's upland, there's cranes and specks and snows, and so it's
sounds like heaven.
Yeah, unfortunately, the thing that really kind of is a downside for me, but in southern Saskatchewan, they have a huge population of pheasants, and but the only people that are allowed to hunt them are Saskatchewan residents, even if you are an outfitter. So it's
now, and that's kind of where I was up hunting up there, Steve. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it was like that way for moose and caribou.
Right. Yeah.
No one could hunt except residents in that area, it seemed like. Does that sound right?
I think
where I was hunting.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Probably when you were there. I know the moose population has been growing quite a bit. Like I see them on a fairly regular basis, and I think there might be you have to go with an outfitter to hunt moose. But the one thing that you can't hunt is mule deer. That's exclusively Saskatchewan residents too. And what did you say? Caribou? Was it caribou?
Maybe caribou too.
Yeah.
Was that?
It could be.
Right?
I'm not too up on the big game, but it could be. Yeah. So, but
and you mentioned canola, and I now remember going north, driving through all those canola fields.
Yeah,
that was a big thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
No, it's been a while since I was up there, but I tell you, I need to come back.
Yeah, for sure. We'd love to have you. I have a picture of one of the CGA members, Matt Papke. He came up on our very first year of guiding, him and his wife, and they have a dog, Luna, out of SOK, and a really nice dog. Luna, she's awesome. She's been up, I think, 3 times now. She came up in the spring, but that's what the one hunt last fall. We just finished up at night, and it was pretty much dark, and the northern lights came out, and we have this picture. Actually, Chris Rowland and his wife were there too. We have a couple cool pictures there, but my brother took this one picture of him and Luna, and he's kneeling down, and Luna's looking up at him, and the northern lights are in the background because he just did a long exposure, and that was probably one of the coolest photos. Chris Rowland, I told him, I was like, get your dogs out. And so he got all 4 or 5 of his dogs out, and he sat them all in between him and Sarah, and they did a long exposure with the northern lights in the back. And that was definitely a highlight of my trip.
Y'all should submit that to. Y'all need to submit that to Gundog magazine in the States.
Oh yeah. I
had her on here, the editor.
I don't know if. I can't. I have the background on my phone is just us standing, but I don't know if you can see that.
Oh my gosh!
But
I can see enough that.
Yeah,
looks
that
like
was
something in a movie.
Yeah, that was after our last hunt, and we've seen the northern lights out there before, but last year they were just brilliant. Multiple times a year it was really, really awesome.
That's definitely on my bucket list. I don't know much about it. I just know it's something I want to see,
Yeah. Usually the photos are
where you go or.
Yeah, usually the photos are like you take a photo, it makes it more like brilliant, and so they're a little bit deceiving. When I first went out and saw them, it was kind of just like lights, like dancing in the sky kind of thing, and I was like, this isn't that good. But last year, I forget what they called it, but it was like the brightest it's been, and we went outside and it was like the photos but in real life, and that was probably the best I'd ever seen. So
but is it something that you can see there every year? It's just
primarily
different.
Like there's a good chance, like if you get a clear night, there's a good chance if you're into October that you'll see it. I think I want to say probably half the group saw it. Yeah. And the farther north you go, the more brilliant, like more vividly you'll see them. So.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
man, that's got to be on my list. Steve, if someone wants to come and hunt with you up there, how do they find you?
Yeah, we're the Waterfowl Dispatchers on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and our website too is the waterfowldispatchers.com. So my brother handles all that stuff. Or, well, if you call, you'll probably either get me or him. Both our phone numbers are on the website with a list of our packages. That's how you'd find us. But
now, can you book it online, or do you need to call y'all and actually book it live?
Yeah, we'll just do the call, and my wife does all the booking. Like after the official, we'll call and get everything lined up, and then she takes it from there, kind of thing. So, yeah. Okay.
And do y'all provide lodging, or do they get lodging nearby?
Yeah, it's all kind of all inclusive. So lodging, meals, and the hunting. Obviously, 5 hunts. So you got to bring your guns and your shells, and that's it. Everything else, and transportation to the lodge. That you guys have to get that as well. The clients get to the lodge, basically.
Question. So when the deer season when I went up there, I did bear hunt. I was archery, so I don't have to worry about ammo. But deer season, there's a Cabela's right there in Saskatoon, and we went in there. My buddy was with me. He was trying to buy some rifle ammo for deer season.
Okay.
And no go. They don't.
Oh,
we
really?
were out of. Yeah, we weren't residents, and they asked for a card. And so, is that the same for shotgun shells in Canada?
So I think the issue would be there is when the clients come in. Like normally, if they're flying, we tell them to fly into Regina or Saskatoon because there's Cabela's there. But they bring like you fill out a gun form. When you get to customs, there's 2 forms. You hand one to the customs officers. You keep the other one, and it's missing me right now. But I'm pretty sure you take that form, and when you go to Cabela's, if you have that form, then you can buy ammunition.
Oh no, we didn't know that. So I brought ammunition.
If you were bow hunting,
the deer season, I brought my own ammunition. But
okay.
So that makes sense, Steve. I didn't understand that. He just luckily, he had enough shells. He just wanted to buy some extra.
Yeah, but, and you can also flying's a little bit more difficult. I can't remember. I know because I fly in Canada. Like when we fly out to Saskatchewan, we normally just buy it at the Cabela's just for the factor, but I know driving over the border, you can bring up, I think it's either 2,000 or 5,000 rounds, and without really any special paperwork. It's just the ammo paperwork as well. So, which I was kind of surprised.
Funny thing happened to me. I have to share this. So I flew in there for bear season, and I had to connect a flight, and so the final flight I was on to Saskatoon was. I'm not lying. The whole flight was bear hunters.
Oh, really?
And they were from other states. I actually had flown in from Kentucky, which is where I'm originally from. And the whole plane was guys from Texas bear hunting. Okay. Anyway, we get off the plane and go through customs there in Saskatoon. I'm the only guy that has a bow. Everybody else has rifles.
Okay.
And we get out. They funnel us over to customs. The gun guys get to just roll on through. And I declared my bow, Man, you'd have thought I was a terrorist. I mean, they took me out of the line, and I had to go through all this stuff and check, open, I want to go through my bow case and all this. And I was like, finally, what's going on? These guys have guns, and y'all let them go right on through. And I've got a bow. And I think they said, we're used to getting guns, and they had all their paperwork, but we don't see people come through with a bow. We want to make sure that you don't have a gun in there. And I was like, well, anyway, it was really odd. And I thought, well, I won't come up here bow hunting anymore. I'll bring a gun. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just that day. Who knows? But it was a big ordeal. And it took me an hour to get through customs. And there was guys that was hunting in my group that I didn't even know, but they were on that flight, and they had to, we had transportation from the lodge. 3 hours. So they all had to wait on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was a big deal. I mean, I thought, I'll just prance through here with the bow. Yeah. There's no big, not a big deal. No, sir. That's not what happened. But anyway, hey, I know it's probably getting late for you. Are you on Central Time there? No, you're on Eastern.
Yeah, Eastern.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Okay. Saskatoon would be Central, I bet.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's getting late, and but listen, I hopefully will get to see you guys. See, it's 1st of April, right? Right around the first weekend.
Yeah, right around the first week. I think it's 1st or 3rd or something like that. Right around there. But
I plan on going. Definitely. I mean, honestly, I love going and seeing everybody and seeing everybody's dogs, and we all learn new things, training, and But the CGA weekend is a fun time, and
it's awesome.
I like all those guys.
Yeah.
And then so I guess I'll definitely get to see you then.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll be there for sure. I think I got to go basically anyways because we pre-bought our ticket last year. I know that.
Oh yeah, so, I did. That's right. I did.
Yeah,
too.
so I can't remember if we got it for cheaper or something like that, but I know we bought one. So
I just hadn't got a room and stuff yet.
What dog are you bringing?
That's a good question. This year, last year I didn't have much to bring. This year it's I have a plethora. So I'll probably my young. There's no sense really me bring my older dogs, because I'm in a retriever club and they get to work. So I got younger dogs that need work, and if I'm not too embarrassed to put them in front of everybody, but I'll probably bring a couple young dogs.
That's the one thing.
You just gonna bring one?
Yeah, just Ellie right now. She's Diesel's because of his injury there. He's not too far along in the training, so Ellie's she'll get a lot of benefit out of it, and then Diesel will have him there next year for sure. But no, that's the one thing because we were so nervous when we went our first time to the CGA weekend because I'd never been around dogs and all these people, and we listened to all the podcasts and all these great dogs. But it's the one place where it's like if your dog goes off the rails, it's like nobody sweats it. Like they're just like, I think it was Chris. He was the lead. Chris Rowland. He was the leader of our group the first year, and he said, "Steve," he said, "it's not a matter of if your dog goes off the rails. He said it's a matter of when." He's like, "I've seen field trial champions just take off," and he's like, "From who knows? They're dogs." So.
It happened to me this weekend at retriever training at the Alamo Hunting Retriever Club. Yeah, my seasoned dog Maverick. Yeah, he first time back from hunting season, and he broke like a racehorse, But I called him back and I stopped him like that with my mouth. Just I didn't no whistle. I stopped him and called him back.
Oh yeah.
He'll have that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Steve, man, thank you so much. It's pleasure seeing you again. It's a shame I hadn't got to talk to you. Well, we've texted some, but we've not got to talk at least kind of face to face virtually since April of last year.
No, but I appreciate you having me on, and I've when you first started posting there, I've been following along, and it's pretty awesome what you're doing. So it's a lot of good content, a lot of good people. That's I mean, it's what your goal is, but I've listened to quite a few of your podcasts and different type of dog trainers and dog people, and it's a lot of information I didn't even know. So it was,
Steve, I tell you, I'm glad you said that, and thank you for following. I've learned so much on here that's insane, and it's so nice, and I learned something every podcast. I learn from people that like you that train, guide, I love it. I enjoy it so much just because I'm a student.
Yeah.
I'm an old student, pretty old, but I'm, I love it. And I can't wait to do the next one, because I know I'm going to learn something. So, and I train and I fooled dogs for many, many years, but I'm not a know-it-all, and I don't ever proclaim to be, so.
No,
but anyway.
Yeah. There's always something to learn from everybody. So that's
right.
Try to not act like you know everything, and then you learn a lot.
Yes, we do. Well, hey, tell your wife hello, and hope your dog heals fast, and look forward to seeing you this spring.
Sounds good.
All right, Steve. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Kenneth Witt with Gundog Nation. Many people quickly become frustrated and confused when training the retriever. Cornerstone Gundog Academy's online courses eliminate all the guesswork by giving you a proven training system that will help you train a dog that anyone would be proud to have in their blind. Learn where to start, what to do next, and what to do when problems arise. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com to learn how you can train your retriever. I have used this method myself. I have been through it a couple times with different dogs. I refer back to it lots of times when I'm trying to get dogs freshened back up for hunt test season. I highly recommend them. I have actually been a subscribed member of Cornerstone Gundog Academy since 2016, and I would suggest anyone use it. I highly recommend it. They have an app that you can get to on your phone. You can do it from your phone, your laptop. You can't get any more convenient than that. I've used it. It's proven and tried. And I know literally hundreds of people that have done the same thing that I've talked to. Visit cornerstonegundogacademy.com and learn how to train your own retriever.